From the archives of the United States Cavalry, the true stories of Colonel Ranald Mackenzie and the cavalrymen he led. Mackenzie's Raiders. His secret orders from the President of the United States. Clean up the Southwest. Make it a fit place for Americans to live. Wipe out the renegades, outlaws, and murderers. If necessary, cross the Rio Grande, knowing capture means hanging by the enemy. Discovery, court-martial by the United States Army. The month of April, 1872, near the Rio Grande, West Texas. The same old story repeating itself, frustrating, maddening Ranald Mackenzie and his 4th Cavalry. For although Mackenzie had established sacred treaties with most of the Indian leaders, still small, unauthorized bands of marauders all too frequently darted into the United States, terrorizing American settlers, burning, stealing, then darted back across the river into Mexico, safe from the American military.
Give me a hand here. This one's alive. And he's not an Indian.
Another problem was now added to the many already confronting Colonel Ranald Mackenzie. For although the boy was not an Indian, as he regained consciousness from his superficial wound, he proved to be an Apache all the way through.
He's to be secured. Then have Sam the scout talk to him and have Sam report to my living quarters.
Finally got him locked up.
How's his wound?
Not much. Not as bad as McCullough's.
What happened to McCullough?
Our engine bit a chunk out of his hand. He's a regular rattlesnake.
He's an Apache.
He's no more Indian than you are, Colonel.
Yeah. Maybe not. He's still an Apache. Has he talked yet?
When he's not biting people, all he'll say is his name is War Knife. He's the son of Chief Burning Grass, Colonel.
Burning Grass? But I've got a treaty with Chief Burning Grass. A treaty of friendship. The old man wouldn't break it.
That wasn't the old man, Colonel. That was his adopted son. Probably got a few young bucks together just for devilment and to prove that they're grown-up men now.
Now what have I got myself into? What do? Hang the chief's son? That'll certainly help to pacify the area. Or maybe I'd force him onto a reservation where he can weave baskets.
How old would you say that kid is?
14, maybe.
I know who he is, Colonel. Before you were stationed at Fort Clark, there was an Apache raid on the Benton place. Killed the Bentons and 2 hands. Stole a year-old baby.
How long ago was that?
13 years ago.
I see. So, it would appear that our Apache might possibly be a Benton.
Appears to add up like it. Benton's brother Abner came out from the east last year and took over the place. He and Mrs. Benton could be this kid's aunt and uncle.
But that kid's an Apache. He's been raised an Apache's son, and he's proud of it. How are we going to persuade him now that he's a Benton? And how are the Bentons going to persuade him that he's just a farm boy?
Be quite a scandal in the territory if you were to treat him like an Injun. Flesh and blood, you know.
Lieutenant Saunders.
Yes, sir.
Please take a detail to the Benton place. Present my compliments to Mr. and Mrs. Benton. Tell them I'd consider it a favor if they'd come to my office as soon as they can.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I wonder why you fellows take up soldiering. Just seems you can never win. What's in your mind, Colonel?
I was just thinking about Chief Burning Grass. Right at this moment down there below the Rio Grande. He's lost a son. I wonder what he's going to do about it.
If I know the Apaches, tomorrow he'll be moving. Tonight he'll be praying.
No, Maud, this is no time for crying. This is a time for happiness.
Oh, I know, Abner. But it brings it all back to me. We were in Philadelphia, Colonel, when we heard about it. The awful tragedy to Abner's brother and sister-in-law.
Mackenzie, I'm not one to beat around the bush. I've only been out here in West Texas a year. But I'll be frank to say that I haven't been happy with the reports about you and your outfit. Seems to me that the savages and renegades have been getting away with a lot of outrages in the territory.
Oh, no, Abner, do you think this is the
I
time?
will say, though, that you did a wonderful thing getting the boy back. Best thing you ever did. And I'm going to see to it that they hear about it back in Washington.
And he will, too. He has friends there.
Well, now, Mackenzie, let's get the boy and we'll be on our way.
Mr. Benton, perhaps there are one or two things I should explain before you see Warknife.
See who?
Warknife. That's the boy's name.
It's no such thing. It's Vernon. His mother wrote me right after he was born. He was named Vernon, she said.
I beg your pardon. Vernon. I might point out, though, that the boy speaks no English.
No English, then how does he talk?
He speaks Apache. He was raised an Apache.
Well, what of it? He's still a Benton, our kith and kin.
Well, he might disagree with you. He considers himself an Apache. And the Apaches are a very fierce, very proud, very noble nation.
What a thing for an American soldier to say.
Yes. What are you suggesting, Mackenzie?
I'm suggesting, sir, that it might be better to leave the boy in my custody until the proper authorities decide what's best to do with him.
Now, you look here, Mr. High and Mighty Soldier. Where that boy is concerned, I am the proper authority, and don't you forget it.
Begging your pardon, Mr. Benton.
I'll decide what's best to do with him, and that's to take him home with his auntie and his uncle where he belongs. Now, where is he?
At the moment, he's in the post jail.
Jail?
See here, soldier. There's law in this territory. My nephew is not an Indian. He's a free American citizen. And you're holding him against his will and against mine. Now, do you take me to him pronto? Or do I swear out a warrant for your arrest?
Please accompany me. Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
I'll need Sam to translate for me.
Right away, sir.
Oh, Abner, what have they done to Vernon?
I wanted to warn you, Mrs. Benton. Sam here has been trying to talk to the boy. He's told him that we're his friends. He's told him there are even people here with his blood in this territory. His only answer was that if that were true, he'd open his veins and spill out that blood.
Oh, why, he should be ashamed of himself. Make him realize I'm his aunt.
Well, Sam tried that too, Mrs. Benton. But Warknife's only answer, that is, Vernon's only answer, was not very complimentary.
Open that cell.
Oh, Abner.
Open that cell.
Trooper? Now, Warknife. Tell him I too am a chief.
Kubani, tutwa, ikwa.
Mihata, wolata.
He says in that case, he will speak only with the chief.
All right.
Is that so? Boy, you're about to learn some civilized manners. Mackenzie, is he my legal ward or is he not? I asked you a question, Mackenzie.
Legally, yes, I suppose he is.
I'm sorry, boy. I've got to teach you not to talk to your auntie that way. I've got to teach you to have some respect for your elders. I'm sorry, boy. Mackenzie, I'm taking my nephew out of this jail. Now, I'm expecting you to give me some help to get him safely to my ranch.
Trooper, have the sergeant call out a detail. Tell him to escort Mr. and Mrs. Benton and their nephew to the Benton Ranch. Remain there until further orders. Good evening to you, sir. Good evening, madam.
Your move, Colonel.
Oh, sorry. Guess I'm not very interested in chess tonight. How'd I get myself into this, Sam? Better I should have left that kid to drown in the river.
You couldn't have done that, Colonel.
War knife, a farm boy.
Not for long.
No, not for long. By tomorrow, the whole Apache Nation will know about this. Old Chief Burning Grass will be up here to get his son back, one way or the other. I can't keep a detail on that Benton place forever, but the minute I draw those troopers off, there'll be another massacre. The minute I... Sam. Sam. Chief Burning Grass, do you know where to find him?
He'll be on the Mexican side of the river.
Can you find him tonight?
I can try.
Lieutenant Sanders.
What you got in mind?
Tell you in a minute.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant, please order out a patrol immediately. 60 men. See that 4 of my raiders are sprinkled among them. We'll leave in 10 minutes and we'll ride till dawn.
Yes, sir.
Now, when the raiders are separated from the main body of troops, it'll be for the purpose of riding south. Pay no attention to any other orders I may give. The raiders will ride south.
Yes, sir.
And see that each raider carries either a bandana or a neckerchief.
Yes, sir. Is that all, sir?
No. Order those troopers away from the Benton place.
I beg your pardon, sir. Away from the Benton place?
You heard me, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
Dawn, April 29th, 1872. With a desperate plan in mind, Mackenzie's need for secrecy was absolute. To avoid court-martial, even the majority of his own officers and men must be deceived as to his mission and methods.
Any change?
I haven't dared go in. He hasn't made a sound.
The soldiers left during the night. There's not a one of them out there.
Ready for your breakfast?
Dish up for the boy first.
Abner, I wonder if we've done right.
Well, he's a Benton. We've done the Christian thing.
But that Colonel Mackenzie, he seems like a Christian gentleman, too. And I got the feeling he thinks we're doing wrong.
Maud, do you think we're wrong?
No, Abner. But maybe he belongs with his own people.
We're his people, Maud. Remember that. Come on now, let's get the boys breakfast. Boy, there you are. I brought you something to eat. I told you you'd feel better in those clothes.
They look much better, too.
Your auntie cooked you up a good breakfast. You'll feel better with something solid between your ribs.
How many grits? Steak? Eggs? Hope you like hominy grits.
We leave him alone with it, Maud. Remember, he's still strange with us.
Like most soldiers charged with subduing the Apaches in 1872, Ranald Mackenzie constantly found himself torn between duty and his respect for a worthy foe. Now, in a dilemma caused mainly by his own vigilance, Mackenzie was forced to take desperate measures to extricate himself.
Lieutenant, listen.
He's waiting.
Get my horse.
Like I said, I don't know why you fellers take up soldiering.
If I'm not back in an hour, return to the fort.
Yes, sir.
Burning Grass is here. Mackenzie will come no closer.
Mackenzie is content.
You have brought much sorrow to my people.
And you have brought much sorrow to my people, Chief Burning Grass.
But I have not stolen Mackenzie's son.
I am here that we may speak of your son, as one chief to another.
Then speak, Chief Mackenzie.
I never feel right about letting the old man go off alone like that.
You have a son, Lieutenant?
Yeah. Yeah, he's back in Kansas City with his mama.
You love him?
What kind of a question is that?
Don't forget old Burning Grass loves his son just like you love yours. And he'll do just about anything to get him back.
It is right that the father, not strangers, should chide the son.
As always, Chief Burning Grass speaks words of great wisdom.
Very well, Chief Mackenzie. I agree to what you propose. My people will leave what you require there where you stand.
And I have the word of Burning Grass as a mighty chief that his warriors will not ride until Mackenzie returns.
My word is given.
Chief Burning Grass will not regret this.
Chief Burning Grass hopes that when next we meet, it shall be as friends again.
That is what Chief Mackenzie and his people desire.
How long's he been gone now?
Well,
Listen. Mount up. Bring my horse.
All right, men, strip down. Put on those clothes. For the rest of the day, we're going to be Apaches. Lieutenant, have a couple of the men cut some horses' mane. Ought to work pretty well as Apache wigs.
Better wash up, Abner. Time for lunch.
In a minute, Maud.
I think it's going to rain.
Get the rifle, Maud! Get the rifle!
Abner, are you all right?
War Knife. It's Colonel Mackenzie. I'm your friend.
Carlson, unscheduled patrol, sir.
Your own troopers. Now you have got a scandal.
They gotta catch me first.
Water.
Tell him he's home.
Yo-yo Hatato.
Tubani pa, Tuhoto, Achila.
He says he'll speak well of you to his father, Chief Burning Glass.
Tell him he is too kind.
Wulatita, Buragi.
Look.
All right, Sam. Take a look back up at the river, see if those bluebellies have left yet. We've got to get back to Fort Clark.
He said he was on a training patrol, sir, when he happened to pass the Benton place. They chased the Apaches as far as the river, but they got across safely. With war knife.
Uh-huh. Lieutenant, give that patrol extra duty. Pretty soon we've got to start outrunning these Indians for a change.
Yes, sir.
That's all, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
Mr. and Mrs. Benton, I can only apologize to you both and thank Providence that those Apaches didn't harm either one of you.
I just can't understand it.
Also, sir, I won't blame you for any charges you wish to prefer against me.
Just a minute, Colonel. I know you feel that you should go and get the boy back. Well, don't.
Don't? And let these savages get away with it?
I know, but Maud and me, we talked it over, and, well, it seems to us that he's better off right where he is.
With his own people.
But what will Washington say?
No, don't you worry about Washington. I won't say a word to them. Colonel, the less said about the whole thing, the better.
Thank you, Mr. Benton. Thank you very much, sir. You're too kind.
Mackenzie's raiders rode again and again, carrying out the secret orders of the President of the United States. Do whatever necessary to clean up the Southwest. Make it a decent place for people to live. Ride with Mackenzie's raiders as they relive the blazing pages of history in the making.